Okay, we are recording. Okay, good morning. Please remember to fill out the survey and share that with anyone else in your library or at your institution who you feel is a stakeholder who may have some opinions. Don't worry about if like you and someone else fill it out and give me the same information twice. And although it says this on the welcome page, I will emphasize that all comments will be kept anonymous. I do have email and name in there just so I can have a general idea of how many institutions and like what level of employee staff I'm getting responses from. But I won't link even in my own viewing, I won't link like your comments to your name. I'll just link the data about your institution to your institution. So yeah, I can't wait to kind of get some robust data from that survey. I will be meeting with the governance committee on Thursday and hope to be able to tell them that I have at least a starting. Oh yeah, I can add Seattle colleges as an institution. That's not a problem.
Thanks. Yeah, I have to be, well, this is kind of me personally, but I'm really adamant that I work for all three and I can't just select one. I have to try to be really careful about not privileging one college over the other.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't want you to have to like weirdly do it 3 times either, because I suspect anything that's real specific to one of those institutions someone else can fill out. Amy, anyone and multiple people can fill it out per institution. I actually don't expect that one person will necessarily be able to answer all of the questions. So none of the questions except the basics about yourself are mandatory. So if you know some things and not others, or if you have a circ manager or a tech services person, even I mean, I would even if you have a student worker who's been with you for a long time and you think that their response to one of the questions might be interesting, feel free to give it to them. If you have an administrator who feels like they know a lot about the library and you just want to illustrate how very many things you deal with that they have no idea about and you want to share it with them, you can use it that way as well. I've done that. It was super fun. So yeah, so I'm very excited because for the rest of this month I'm going to kind of focus on statistics and analytics, and I do mean analytics in a more general sense, not just Alma analytics, but using Excel as well. So I started creating a toolkit, and toolkits are just about my favorite. I'm going to post the hold on, the agenda here one more time because a few more people have joined us. And I've provided the link here, and when I actually like quote unquote finish it, I will add it to our website. I love a good toolkit. I once wrote a 110-page lifeguard manual. I will try not to make this one 110 pages. I will split it up before we get there. But I was trying to figure out a way to provide an easily updatable document that we can have available on the web, as opposed to having a bunch of different websites that you got to go in and this whole thing. So I have started putting this together, and so I'm just going to go through it and kind of show you what I have, and feel free to jump in with a question. If you have a question or if you have a suggestion, you can throw it in the chat. So I've started off with some information about ACRL and iPads, and just who can participate in those. ACRL, everyone can participate. However, you do have to register. And with iPads, I'm not sure, you do have to register as well. And I'm not sure how many people at an institution can fill that out. So it may be that your library provides your data to someone else who submits it. But if anyone is interested, we could subscribe to the ACRL benchmark and get deeper access to that data for at least half off, if not more. Because if we got 10 libraries to participate, that'd be 300 per library, and then each additional would be 200. So it would go down based on how many participate, and individual institutions, the subscription cost is $600. So the data collection period for this one is the one that's coming up quickest. It is February 28th. And many of the questions do align with iPads, and they allow you to wrap that data up so that it is ready to submit to iPads. So I'm putting together a list of the shared questions from those that apply specifically to libraries. And I'm doing this in a little bit more like common language, simplified. I'm not copying straight from the worksheet or anything. So it does ask for some holdings information, both physical and electronic. And so I'm kind of working up some basic definitions of what those mean. It asks for circulation data. And for the electronic resources, ACRL very helpfully says, tells you which counter reports to use. However, not all vendors, as we know, have counter reports. So I hope to be adding things about what kind of database specific measures can apply, and then how to get those by doing some pivot tables in Excel and things like that. It has interlibrary loan statistics it wants, and then library staffing, FTEs. I think actually number of branches is only on iPads. I only got about this far on verifying the shared, but total salaries and wages, fringe benefits, that's on both. The materials and services expenses are also on both, as well as the operation and maintenance expenses. So once you collect that data for ACRL, which is due by the end of next month, you have it ready for iPads, which is not due until the beginning of April. Both request additional information about the institution, which you are probably not necessarily responsible for collecting. And so, but if you need to put it in for ACRL, college level data is available as far as enrollment and financial aid from the state board. And when you go to, and this link is in the toolkit, but there's the dashboards and reports public. And then if you are on campus, you can access the college access only, or if you VPN in, as I did. So you can check your quarterly enrollment and look at program information. I had a ton of fun with this. It was very interesting to kind of see what was available here. So this is an example of the Excel that you can download and manipulate. It'll open up here in a moment. But there's also a real nice dashboard where you can do some filtering right in the screen. So here's totals for FTEs and funding sources. I also took a look at, because it shows like the library budget, like the total library budget and the percentage of the institutional budget. And that, if we go up to, okay, where's our dashboards? I just love it when I find stuff and then I can't find it again. Where was it? Why didn't I? Wait, maybe I have it over here. Yes. Nope, just kidding. Anyway, there is a dashboard and you can filter. Yeah, compiled data, Melinda, I would love to see how any of you are using this data and what you're pulling. As we kind of explore the potential of collective purchasing, I want to figure out how to use this enrollment data to our advantage, because I don't want high enrollment in fall semester to be skewing institutional costs. So yeah, so back to the toolkit. I'm just outlining the questions of what they need. I was able to get my hands on the 2021 ACRL survey worksheet, and I don't believe there is significant difference, if any, with the 2022, since I am not a registered institution. I can't log in and get this year's, I don't think. So then the next section is creating the ALMA reports to get this information. And so I'm gonna go through how to set up a vendor as a sushi vendor, how to do the sushi harvesting. I'll go into like building a report from scratch, and then using Excel. Clearly haven't gotten there yet. And then I've got some of these additional resources. So the counter report glossary, I find this one really helpful as you're trying to figure out if another database's info that they're giving you, like what does it relate to on a counter. So for example, in the where is it? Under, like, it gives definitions of what ebook means according to counter. It gives a description of what the item, database, and platform and title master reports, what those definitions are, so you can kind of figure out which ones you need. In the counter, they also have nope, that's the same one. I'll add the other link, but they also have the list of the headers in each report. So if you have to go directly to a vendor and download a report, you know exactly what headers you're going to get. So I've always found this one to be a great resource. I'd usually keep it open as I was doing my annual stats, which I usually did in August. The iPads survey is through National Higher Ed. So yeah, Jennifer has a question about the shared analytics reports in ALMA. They are there. I am not entirely sure how they were created and whether or not they need to be updated because of how they were created. So I definitely want to, as part of this, provide links or information about those shared reports. But I also want to kind of give people some basic instructions on just creating a simple one if they need data for another reason. Abby mentioned last week that she gets asked for data not for iPads or ACRL. So just being able to whip those up real quick. So here's the iPads, and if you go into the reporting resources, it then takes you into the list of which thing, which type of package you need, and you can see right here, this is the worksheet for all academic libraries, and the link is in the toolkit. This one is in the, I don't think I put the link in this for sure, but this is the instructions and worksheet for 2021, which I was like, this is cool. I wonder if they have 22. Nope, they did not. So, but it is helpful. So, and now, now I just want to show you some of this sushi stuff. And I apologize because I'll probably, one, go through it too quickly, two, potentially do it in a weird order because I will have forgotten from yesterday. But rest assured that the full instructions in order will end up in this toolkit. So I have logged into Edmonds because I was working with Claire and Claire yesterday. And here we're on the main menu. And the way you can see if you have sushi enabled vendors is to go to acquisitions and then acquisition infrastructure vendors. And you can actually just filter and you can see that sushi vendor is listed in this column. So if you don't have very many vendors listed, you'll probably real quickly see which ones have been set up. So if we click on this, we're going to view it. If you have the vendor manager role, you'll get edit or delete over here, and that is how you can actually set up a vendor and set up the report types. So if we go into the usage data tab for ProQuest, and I'm using this one because I know it works, you can see that we have the account, the type of reports that are pulled, the release that it is pulling from. And so if you've had this set up for a while, you might also have R4s that might not even be active. And you can see the history of the uploaded files. So this is the other spot where you can edit. So you can add types of reports, and PR and PR1 are going to give you a lot, but possibly not everything. And the ACRL actually recommend using TRB1 and IRM1. So what I'm going to do right now is add those report types to the sushi harvest list for ProQuest. So IRM1 and TRB1. All right, so now we have these 4 reports, and I'm going to save. And next time that pulls, it will pull all of these. So I could do harvest now. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to show you how you can set up the scheduled pull. So for that, you're going to want to be in the configuration menu, acquisitions, and acquisition jobs configuration. And then under the PO line package job is the sushi harvesting job. And you can see that theirs is not currently active because we haven't gotten all of them totally functioning. So I won't save this, but I'll show you. So if you go to active, you can schedule it, and I wouldn't try to schedule it even every Saturday. I would go monthly. Most vendors, the major vendors that are gonna have counter 5, are generally required by contract with the large state universities and consortiums to have that those counter reports available no later than the 5th or the 10th of the month. So they are reliably available for everybody by those dates. So the 11th of the month or the 18th of every month is a good option. And you just choose that, and then it will pull whoever you have set up as a sushi vendor and whichever reports you have selected. So once you have the acquisitions job set up and you have the vendor usage data set up, you should start getting uploaded files listed here. Now, once you have those, then you can test whether or not the information has actually gotten pulled in correctly. And for that, we're going to go into analytics. And I am going to design just a super basic analysis. And you only need one subject area, and that is usage data. And you can see there's a release 5 and a release 4 folder. So if you are getting counter 4 from one of your vendors, you want to make sure that you use the correct measures for counter 4. I know that that ProQuest one, we successfully pulled a PR and a PR1. So I'm going to do a total item requests from usage data details. And if you were doing the book request or the multimedia request, you could add that. We want usage date. And again, I'm going to keep it real simple. So I'm just picking plain old usage date. If multiple sushi vendors are actually functioning correctly, you're going to want the platform. Platform is the PR, platform report. And then the missing link, which I have learned, is the load file counter report type. Okay. And that is about it. Now, all you need to do is filter by counter report type of the one that you know you have operational. So we say, okay. So super simple, one subject area, 4 columns. Ta-da! So we have eBook Central and ProQuest, the last 12 months. So if you wanted to change the usage date range, you could, but this is just basic total item requests for those 2 platforms. It's not particularly useful if you're trying to compare multiple vendors to determine, like what should be canceled, or, what's really valuable. Are people actually finding what they need? Because item requests includes abstracts, descriptions, and full text. So we don't know if people read an abstract and said, that's total crap, I don't need it. We just know that they took a look at it. But it is basically what the combination of B1 and M1 should be. So if we pulled B1 and M1 and added those together, I would expect to see something very close to this number. I'm not sure why it wouldn't be, but some things are a little goofy. So yeah, so that's a really, really basic, quick usage report that if you have sushi vendor activated in your system, you can do within Alma. If you do not have sushi in Alma, and I will tell you that I actually always did have it, but I didn't even use it. I would just go to the vendor, the admin portal, and I would pull the counter reports that I wanted, setting the date range for the academic year. I always did July 1 to June 30. The person before me did calendar year, and I was like, wow. I'm sure there was a reason, but and so I just pulled directly from the vendors, and then I would keep those Excel files in folders by vendor, along with our licenses and other contact information. Now, if anyone would like to ask some questions, I'm actually going to see if I don't have some of those old reports saved somewhere, so I can like pull one and like have a big old block of data to play in Excel for a minute. But if anyone has questions, yeah, this is the time, or ideas of what to add to this. I'm actually going to add real quick the Alma share reports updated and functioning. Now, if the Alma shared reports are not working for your institution, I would absolutely love to work with you and go through your Alma and figure out what is missing. So please book a time with me. I think that's just a lot. It's a lot faster, and I super enjoy getting to work with you guys one-on-one and learn more about your resources and how you operate. Okay. But any questions? And that was like a lot, and it was very fast. Oh, I know where they are.
I have a question. What is the benefit of setting up sushi vendors versus, like you were saying, going out to each vendor and pulling stats?
If you have a large number of database subscriptions that are sushi enabled, it is going to be significantly faster to have that automated and have reports built. So for example, I was going into the Whitworth one, and within a vendor, we actually would individually also activate different collections for sushi harvesting. So like different, like various academic presses that are aggregated by ProQuest, we had separately sushi activated, and our serials manager uses those to build very quick reports, whereas going into individual journals to see usage takes a lot of time. Now, if you basically only have the main 3 and 1 or 2 more, then I'm not sure like that it's, well, once you get everything up and running, it's always going to be a time save, but the getting it up and running might take a little more time if you're trying to get the data together now for this cycle of IPEDS and ACRL.
Well, I think that's why I've never set up Sushi, because it takes me a few hours to go grab all of the stats one at a time. And it seemed like it was going to take way more than that to set up all the Sushi harvesting, but I may be mistaken about that.
Yeah, well, and once it's set up though, it's set up, which is the benefit, because so like maybe this year you pull them all manually, but as you do that, you make sure you have the correct Sushi information. And I'm going to do links to all of the instructions for the main vendors on like what they want for their Sushi harvesting. And even if you're just initially plugging in that requester ID or the API key, whatever it is they want, as you go in to pull the stats, and don't even go any further, then in, you know, May, June, next September, then you go in, you add the report types and activate the job, and, you know, like just breaking it apart maybe, rather than trying to go through every single one individually.
And then you have to remember, like when there's a new version of Counter, or a vendor switches what version they offer, then do you have to go in and edit your Sushi settings?
Hopefully by now almost everyone is on Counter 5.
It's not been, I've been pulling them one at a time, and at least with our vendors, some are on 4, some are on 5, some do homegrown stats that aren't any of them.
Yeah, well, and I would love to start to get a list together of the homegrown stats ones, so that we can kind of have a master list of what equates. But if they're still on 4 will likely be available for a couple more years at least. Anyone who's I mean, all the big ones I think have gone to 5. Oh yeah, SUNY has great resources. Thanks, Kirsty. I go to them for a lot of stuff. Dang it, I really hoped I had like a big ProQuest poll somewhere. Yes. That's oh, is this it? Nope, that's from LibGuides. Shoot. Okay. Well, darn. I will definitely have that prepped for next time, because I want to. I definitely want to do an Excel day. But I'm gonna go to this SUNY tips and tricks, and we can all look at it together. So yeah, so they've got some basic EBSCO Gale. The test connection is important. However, just because you get a result in the JSON file doesn't mean that you are successfully getting data. So the connection might work, and it'll say, yeah, service active, or like I did a test connection and it said service active, but that it told me it was Gale, and it told me that the customer ID needed this location name. So it can help you figure out what might be missing. Oh good, they've got some good troubleshooting. Oh yeah, status messages, because these feel kind of incoherent sometimes. Quick question. Do most of you have most of your electronic collections activated in Alma, or are they more direct access through database links on research guides or in like Canvas? Because if they're all in Alma, then I can go through, and a few years back, Wade put together a spreadsheet of what electronic collections were activated, and I can update that, and then I could make kind of a master list of who's a sushi vendor, what does it want, who's on counter 5, who's on counter 4, and get that all into the toolkit.
Oh,
But
that would be really helpful, Harley.
I am not promising this, like, in a few days,
Oh,
but
no.
but it is exactly the kind of thing that I could use a really super awesome pivot sheet for. And I do love a good pivot sheet. So I mean, I could do that. Does anyone have a like, or could they pull real quick, even if it's old one, if anyone has an old usage report from something, I could, and you could send it to me, I could do a quick like Excel pivot table demo and kind of show you what I'm talking about, and see whether or not you want me to work on that farther in this toolkit. But because that's how I did, like, whenever I was doing just like for the ref librarians, what are people using this month? I just did trends in Excel. So what's this? Oh yeah. Well, I could use this. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, so I am going to, oh, it's not going to like that. So the thing with making a table in Excel is that merged cells it does not like. So they, of course, decided to, instead of making these just fatter cells, they did some weird nonsense here. But I now have this table, and now I'm going to do insert pivot table, and it's just the table I just created. I'm going to do it in a new worksheet. Okay, so it opens up a new worksheet, and hopefully your table actually has headers. And let's go back. Okay, column 1 is name. So column 1, I want to be the rows, and then I want what's that? 15. Okay. And this one is 6. Okay, we're gonna do so we have basically just like pulled out the, what is it, the 2021 and the 2022. But now we can do pivot table analyze and get some cool charts from this. So you can see, like, so if you had monthly data on different databases, you can very quickly, this is not the right graph for this type of data, but you could very quickly see trends of when certain databases are getting used, or if it's the use is going down. And it like looks real sharp, and you don't have to try and like do one of these things where you're like, create a, make a chart from this and then try and figure out how to make it look right. So, and you can also change, so like if we wanted to flip this around, and then, oh no, I want, instead of in values, there we go. Yeah, so you can do a lot of really quick manipulating of how the data presents without messing with your original table. So that's why I think pivot tables are just fun, because if you're then like, I don't like any of this, what was I doing? Then you can just reset it and start over. So yeah, I'll get some actual usage data, and I'll get it formatted in a decent table so that we can really play with some of that visualization, because I found that our faculty librarians, as well as liaison departments, it was a great tool. Like I would go, like I sent one to poli-sci. I was like, okay, here are all the like real poli-sci-ish databases, and here's, like when the usage is happening, here's the top titles, and I put them into visualization using pivot tables, and I filtered out anything that wasn't really relevant to them, so I could focus on saying, see, we should totally cut LexisNexis because they're an evil empire working with ICE, and we should just get Hein Online because they're a family-owned business. And I was successful. So that was very fun. So yes. What else can I give you today? What other, okay, I was going to, other comment was activated collections in Alma, who's C4, C5, homegrown, and then the equivalencies on those homegrown. And then really, if if you're hesitant to start setting up the sushi stuff, I wish I could just do it for you. I can't, because you're going to have to log into your admin portal for your subscription, and that I do not have access to. And please don't give it to me. That would be very overwhelming. But I am happy to walk you through it, and we can work together and we can get some functioning reports. And in the meantime, I will work on getting some nice simplified shared reports that are functioning, and the instructions of like what you need set up to get that report to function in this section. That's really what I'm going to focus on in this section, is like, what is the bare minimum to get an ALMA report to work? So that, I think this is what I really wanted to cover, giving you access to the beginnings of this toolkit, to show you kind of the direction I'm going with it. And on Thursday, I guess, would you rather work on some like getting shared reports and dashboards walked through, or more like Excel pivot table stuff? Or would you like me to really focus in on kind of like a who's C4, who's C5, and I could like get that going? Thoughts, preferences? Yes, I do get very excited about pivot tables. I did a pre-con at ERL right before the pandemic, literally days, and it just blew my mind. So changed my whole world.
What were the 3 options again?
Okay, like Excel pivot tables, shared reports like ALMA Analytics, or I could start to work on the what collections are activated, and who's C4, C5 homegrown. I could try to put together a poll. That would be fun. Where's a poll? Polls. I will create a poll. Okay.
Do we
What?
have folks doing collection development on the call? I'm kind of wondering what their thoughts are. But yeah, do the poll.
I mean, why not? Okay. And okay. How do I look? I've never done a poll. So now do I go? And we'll get to all of these eventually. But I like to kind of have your guys' voice in what I focus on a bit for the next couple days. Okay. Shared reports. Looks like it's edging out pivot tables. I mean, by a lot, but that's okay. I'll just wait my own pivot table reaction. Okay, so I will really get into that the consortium folder of Wade's and see what's in there and how it's operating and clean it up. So if there's anything you're using in there that you just like really love or is actually functioning for you, I'd love a quick email of which ones those are, because I tend to just kind of grab 2 institutions at random from the ones that I know have some sushi activated to see what's working. So I think at this point I have like 4 or 5 that just off the top of my head I'm like, okay, yes, they'll work here. So yeah, I'll dig into that folder then and start cleaning it up, and we can do a walkthrough of what's available and what you need to make some basic ones work then. And that'll be Thursday, and we will again, oh, on the survey, yes, I probably did accidentally call Olympia after a lifetime of typing Olympia. Although my parents live on Old Olympic Highway. Now I'm just giving you guys personal information, but I often type that wrong too. So I will fix Olympic and I will add Seattle colleges so that that's all represented correctly. And then on Thursday, we will get into Alma, and that will be fun. So 10:55, I will hang out if anyone has a specific question. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Thursday. So have a great week. Don't get too cold. It's very freezy here.
I did have a question, Carly.
Yeah.
I'm not able to attend Thursday meetings, and I was looking for last week's recording and I couldn't find it. I don't know if I'm looking in the wrong spot or if it hadn't been uploaded or what's happened.
I'm gonna stop recording real quick.